Joined now by my fellow SportsCenter anchor, Jay Harris, who knew Stuart for a long time, starting here in 2003, I believe, ESPN. But you weren't here when he got those NFL gigs.
I was not.
Neither
no.
was I.
I was home watching him.
Same.
Yeah.
But I understood the significance of it. What did you make of him getting that opportunity to work at the biggest sport in America, the coverage here at ESPN, first on Sunday Countdown, and then ultimately hosting Monday Night Countdown?
Everything you just said. It was the biggest role at the biggest place.
Yeah.
And it was somebody who looked like me, right? Who I had not seen in that position before. So for him to blaze that kind of a trail, and then you come and you learn everything that he went through to get there.
Right.
It's even more awesome that he was able to do it.
A lot of people don't understand, like they see his career and they think, oh, he just skyrocketed to the top. But there were a lot of moments internally and externally that were trying to prevent him from being able to reach those positions.
Yeah, I mean, he was being authentically him.
Right.
And he just happened to come around at a time when hip hop was getting strong and the culture and the music and the athletes and everything merging into one. And he just kind of rode that wave because he was that wave.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks in the executive suite just didn't understand it. They were not of that generation. And he mentions in the documentary, which I got a sneak peek of, you know, Chris Berman could say whatever he wanted to, and his examples, his references were generally understood or accepted.
Right.
But Stewart's, there was a battle. And I'm glad he fought that battle for us. It's unfortunate that he had to, but I'm glad that he did. Yeah,
truth be told, I didn't get half of Chris Berman's references because that music was before mine. But you mentioned something, his authentic self. Mm-hmm. And he was very authentic. What you saw on camera was often what you saw off camera. But he is so attached to the culture in the hip hop culture and music and television and movies. But he was also one of the more well-rounded dudes in a weird way that I've ever encountered, because this is the same man who introduced me to the UFC, who would be practicing chokeholds on me, 25 years ago.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, he would break out into a show tune from West Side Story in the lobby of the NABJ convention. So from your memories, who was the true Stuart Scott that was way, maybe not way, but a little different than people always saw on television?
Okay, can I give you two? Can I make them quick?
Sure.
Okay, I believe my son was 9, as the rest of the other neighborhood kids that were in the house that day that we met over at a mutual friend's house. We were just hanging out, it was a cookout. And we hear this noise from the basement, like someone is trashing the place, like crash, boom. And we, what the heck? We go downstairs and all the little boys are doing WWE wrestling moves, off elbow drops, blah, blah. And the biggest kid of them all, that fella right there, Stuart Orlando Scott, right in the middle, having some kid in the figure 4 going, you can't get out of this, because that's just the kind of guy he was. He wanted to play with the kids. The second one is about 2011. The ESPN folks played the Bristol firefighters and police officers in a charity flag football game. Okay. I think we won like 52-7. But we were all waiting for Stuart. We were warming up. We were waiting for Stuart. No sign of Stuart. About 2 minutes before the game starts, here comes Stuart sprinting into the stadium. Flag football, right? Right. My man is decked out. He had the cleats, he had the gloves, he had the skull cap, he had everything professional Stuart. And Kenny Mayne threw a pass to him and Stuart dropped it. And he starts laughing and everyone else starts laughing, because that's just Stuart. He knew how to make an entrance, he knew how to entertain, and he knew how to have fun, even at the expense of himself. And it was just, I mean, he was our dude, man. He was the dude. That reminds me of playing golf with him. Uh-oh. He was the best dressed golfer out there, but he was trash. And he says, I don't play well, but I look the part. Indeed. And that was him to a T for sure. I said earlier on SportsCenter, I think he's one of the most 5 important on-air personalities in the history of this network. Mm-hmm. One of the most iconic personalities in the history of sports television. Mm-hmm. And his legacy is cemented within this business. But a lot of people don't care about the business of sports television. Right. But I think his most important legacy is
what he started with his own personal battle with cancer and now extends through the Stuart Scott Memorial Cancer Research Fund, which works specifically to end the racial disparities within cancer research and cancer treatment. Like prostate cancer, for example, Black men die of prostate cancer 2 to 3 times higher rate than white men do.
Scared me to death when I heard that.
And when you got prostate cancer, obviously you knew that, but you also knew the work that had been done through the V Foundation and Stewart's Fund to help men of color be able to battle the disease with even more strength.
It's one thing to be frightened when you hear numbers like that. 1 in 8 men get prostate cancer, 1 in 6 if you're Black, twice as likely to die if you're Black. But when you are familiar with an organization that raises the kind of money for research that the V Foundation does, and when you are out there and you meet folks who are about pre-screening and trying to catch it early, because if you can catch it early, you'll have a good outcome thus far, which is what I've had. So all of those worlds together makes it a little less scary.
Right. And just to think, Stuart, who went through cancer multiple times,
yes,
started something that is helping other people, like one of his former coworkers, Jay Harris, thrive in the wake of that battle. And again, to me, I think that may be his most lasting legacy of who exactly he was.
Indeed. Appreciate you, brother, and I miss you. Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Thanks.